So, hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Thank you again for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. And once more, I am joined by my good friend Louis Gallo. Louis, thank you so much for taking the time to have a quick chat with me on the channel today.
Well, it's a real pleasure because it's been a while since I've released any, as you would call, content or material due to various reasons. I have to get a new camera. And there's a lot of stuff I haven't edited yet from what I've already recorded. So it's a pleasure to be back in the flow of things on just on YouTube in general, but particularly to be on your channel, Stephen.
Thank you. That really means a lot.
I
I
thank you
appreciate
for
that.
welcoming me. Thank you so much.
But the pleasure is all mine. So today, we're very happy to be discussing a topic that we're both quite passionate about. I will admit that I still consider myself to be in the inaugural stages of this journey, whereas Lewis has a lot of experience when it comes to the law of attraction. And so you can almost view this video as a personal testimonial almost, but maybe your general outlook or your view on what the law of attraction is. And like we said, proof might be a little bit too strong of a word, but your experience with it and why you believe it works, and maybe some of the things that you were capable of manifesting with the law of attraction. And maybe in the process, if you don't mind, you can also give the viewer a brief insight or a quick look into what it is and how it works, just in case we do have some people who are learning about this for the first time today.
Sure. I just want to say again, the corny man in me who's got to make puns, can't resist it. When you said you're in the inaugural stages, I'm hoping that you'll invite me to your inauguration party once you're elected.
You better believe that this November, right?
Thank you, Steve. Sorry, that's my corny
Of
side.
course. No, that's fine.
Um, where do I begin? Okay, so I first discovered law of attraction, many, many, many moons ago. My late best friend actually introduced me to it via a series of books written by the now late Jane Roberts, and her husband, the transcriber and artist Robert Butts, B-U-T-T-S. And you might be familiar with, or you may have heard of the Seth, S-E-T-H, the Seth material. So she channeled a spirit by the name of Seth. She was a trance channeler, or we call trance medium or medium. And she wrote like a library of books on the topic, where, via Seth speaking through her, basically. And so that was my first experience. I first stumbled upon it in the late 70s and early 80s, but she was writing in the 1960s. Back then, we didn't really use the word law of attraction or even really manifestation. It was just basically called you create your own reality. The you create your own reality school of thought, or that type of principle or phenomenon. And then it became repopularized, if you will, through Rhonda Byrne, an Australian writer who wrote the book The Secret a number of years, I guess like a decade ago. And yeah, so it was called The Secret. And I think she used words like law of attraction and manifestation,
Okay.
as did another writer and spiritualist by the name of Esther Hicks and her late husband Jerry Hicks. So there's a whole tradition of this. I'm working on a book which I hope to get out to publishers really soon. That's my baby, that's my pet project this summer, and finally changed from a working title to what I think is going to be the permanent title of the book. I'm going to keep it a surprise for now, I think, until it's on the brink of being published. So in my book, what I like to talk about is my experience. See, a lot of people put themselves out there as gurus or spiritual leaders. I see myself much as an ordinary man, a layman, an ordinary man, also a teacher, an educator. And there aren't too many teachers, educators, ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill men, or people like myself that have really tackled this topic. I mean, some have, but I think it's few and far between. So I wanted to write it from the perspective of your ordinary, everyday man who's also an educator, a teacher, who is not afraid to share his experiences and knowledge about law of attraction and how it works. I will say that when I was a novice, back in the day, and I tried to use a lot of the techniques or strategies or procedures for manifesting the reality that I want, it didn't always work. And most of the time I fell flat on my face. It didn't work at all. And other times I might get a little glimmer of a success every now and again. But now I find that with most things, or I should say, shouldn't say most, a lot of the time, maybe 70, 75 in some case, and for some things, 80% of the time, I am actually manifesting what I want. And so I think I have gained a momentum, and I've gained a certain mastery that you or anyone else and any of your YouTube audience and mine as well can certainly gain uh,
Right.
in the process of working with it pretty much on an everyday basis. Because after a while, it becomes second nature. In other words, you don't even realize that you're using certain techniques. It's so much fun. It's so much a part of you that you're just manifesting things what's in a way that seems to be inadvertently, because like anything else, learning how to drive a car, learning how to ride a bike becomes second nature to
Right.
you, if you will. Yeah. So you want to direct maybe some specific questions, like?
Yeah, sure. So what are some of these techniques that you referred to? I know there are affirmations and, having certain intentions, but what are more specifically, what are some things that people can do, and what are some things that they should try to manifest? So let's say, for example, you want to try to manifest something small, just to sort of prove it to yourself that this does in fact work, versus saying, you know what, I'm going to buy this scratch off and I'm going to win $1 million, right? So that's a little bit
Wow.
too outlandish, I
I
suppose.
think you're a lot more advanced than you think, Stephen, because that's perfect. And I mentioned that in my book. And it's mentioned in a lot of books by a lot of people who wrote on law of attraction, and a lot of YouTubers. I have a YouTube channel that I focus. My YouTube channel has, of course, I've invited you. We speak about incense, fragrances. I've put some of my music, original music, and singing. Yeah, I have a lot of different things, ghost stories, but I'd say a good preponderance on my YouTube channel, maybe 80-85% or more, is basically about the law of attraction, and it's kind of a companion to the book I'm writing and other books I hope to write on it in the future as well. So I would say yes, affirmation that's a good one, and if you want to start small, just to kind of like make yourself believe in the process and prove to yourself that it works, you can start with, and this is a staple in the field actually, manifesting a cup of coffee, manifesting a penny, a nickel, a dime, a quarter that you might find on the sidewalk or in the street. Don't do it in the street. You don't want to get run over by a car, but do it on the sidewalk. Yeah, you would start off with an affirmation. And by the way, stating of intentions, which is another technique, is very closely related, if not directly synonymous, with speaking or writing affirmations. And the spoken word and the written word are very, very powerful. It kind of crystallizes the process. So you can start. I'll give you some examples. You can start by saying, and it's always good to put it in a positive way and in the present tense. And don't say I desire or I want, because that implies lack. It implies you don't already have it. And the idea of law of attraction, the basic principle is that everything exists all at once. Of course, on the timeline, past, present, and future coexist. And that which you are trying to manifest, the fact that you still don't have it, and when it becomes manifest, again, they exist on the same, it's all time is simultaneous anyway, but it crystallizes and expedites the manifestation process if you operate from a belief system that it's already here, I already have it, and then you imbue yourself with the feelings, the emotions, and the really the mental and emotional context of already having that which it is you desire to have. Right. So you might start off with saying in the present tense, I am grateful for this free cup of coffee, which I just manifested. And by the way, that's another component. Gratitude is probably the single most powerful ingredient in having your manifestations come to fruition. Because if you want to say God, the universe, your higher self, that you're thankful for what you already have and what you will have in the future, as though it were already here, it just raises your vibration in such a way that you're operating out of your higher mind, you're operating out of your higher self more so than your ego self.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's very important. It really crystallizes or expedites the process. So what happened, I noticed on a number of occasions, I mentioned in my book, that as I tried to manifest a cup of coffee, on many occasions, it absolutely happened for me. It came true. maybe like a year ago, I was working in New York. I was teaching a class for a couple of schools, and for one particular school, and for the building that I worked at, there was a Taco Bell, and I went into the Taco Bell, ordered a couple of things, and I was about to order a cup of coffee when the cashier just handed me one for free. She said, "Don't worry about it. You don't have to pay for it." And that was right
Wow.
after I did a mental affirmation, if you will, or the stating of an intention that I will manifest a free cup of coffee. So it really does. It works quite well.
Now,
Yeah.
does that work at McDonald's as well, or only Taco Bell?
Oh no, only Arby's and Burger King. I'm kidding. No,
That
it
is
won't
too
work at
funny. That's
McDonald's.
amazing, though. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. It really truly is. And let me tell you something. A lot of people don't realize there's a strong connect. People say to me, "Oh, what are synchronicities?" You've asked me, "What are synchronicities, and how do they differ?" Oops, sorry, something popped up on my screen. It's a pop-up. I have to get that out of my way so I can see you. Sorry. So yeah, sometimes synchronicities and law of attraction, it's not that they're similar, it's that they're sometimes exactly the same thing. They can be very synonymous. For example, oh boy, what a synchronicity. I was just thinking of Lewis, and he called, and then he called me. Really?
That happened to us.
It has happened to us. So is that you? Is that a synchronicity, a coincidence of my calling you as you're thinking of me? Or would the correct context or another context, I guess they're both correct contexts, coincidence, synchronicity, or law of attraction, because you put the thought out to the universe, I received the thought, and it happened. And guess what? Since time is simultaneous, sometimes the future, oh yeah, the future influences the past. So I could have had the thought of calling you, and that could have reverberated backward in time to the point in time when you were thinking of me. So sometimes it doesn't originate in the past, it originates in the future and reverberates back to the past. So yeah, that's another possibility with law of attraction. So that which we think of as synchronicity means you're plugging in, you're tuning into the universe, you're starting to realize on a soul level that everything and everyone is one. We are all one. There is no separation. We are all one. Within you, within your body and your spirit, is the hologram containing me, containing another planet, containing everyone and everything in the universe, everything that was, everything that is, everything that ever will be. So you are a hologram. A rock is a hologram for everything else in the universe. So synchronicity is a realization on a soul level that that's what's going on. And it's starting to enter your conscious mind more and more and more, if you will, the ego self. And it's also a manifestation. It's also a successful manifestation that you put a thought out. I thought of someone, the phone rang, it's him or her or them. That's a manifestation. So synchronicities are actually manifestations. They're actually the law of attraction coming to fruition. Yeah.
Wow, that is incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it's absolutely true. And I've shared this with you in one of my most recent
Right.
synchronicities when I put the
I
thought
love
out
to hear
there.
about your synchronicities. I love them. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.